The sky over Fjalheim cracked open the night the stars screamed. It began with a whisper, lights shimmering above the northern peaks, brighter than any aurora, shifting in patterns no man had seen. Farmers dropped their tools and crossed themselves. Warriors gazed upward in silence. The elders gathered in their great longhouse and muttered of omens, Ragnarök and tales once thought to be myth. Then the earth trembled, and from the sky came fire. A great starship, a metal beast, long and ribbed like the spine of Jörmungandr himself, crashed into the fjord outside their village. It carved the ice like a sword through butter, its scream louder than thunder. And when it stopped, the snow steamed, the air hummed, and the gods went silent. That was the day the Vikings met the stars, and it was the day they began to prepare for war. Erik Thorson was the first to step aboard the wreck. He had fought in 6 winters of blood feuds, killed his first man before he could grow a beard, and held no fear in his heart, not even of the gods. But what he saw inside that fallen star beast shook him. The creature was dying. It wasn't human. Its skin was dark and glimmering like obsidian, 4 arms, eyes like molten iron. It bled blue from dozens of wounds, and still it tried to rise. But instead of striking, Erik knelt. "Who are you?" he asked, voice low. "What beast rides fire into my lands?" The creature rasped in a language Erik could not understand. Then, with the last of its strength, it touched its wrist and projected an image into the air. Thousands of worlds, all burning. Ships, cities, stars falling. A darkness sweeping through the cosmos, devouring everything. Then a final word echoed in Erik's mind as if whispered by Odin himself. "Rundracht, prepare." The creature died. But Erik did not forget. 3 days later, he called a thing, a gathering of all clans, even those that had feuded for generations. Atop the ancient stone of judgment, Erik held aloft the alien's broken helmet and told his tale. Many laughed, some mocked. But when the shaman Vilda the seer stepped forward, her eyes bleeding black from the runes she had carved into her flesh, the laughter stopped. "I have seen it too," she said. "The fire serpents, the star wolves. The end that comes not from Midgard but from the stars. The gods have spoken to me in dreams." "And what do they say?" Erik asked. "They say we are not alone, and they say we must go to war." The first forges burned for weeks. They melted meteorite fragments into blades that could slice stone. Runemasters etched protection glyphs into armor, shaped from the hull of the fallen star beast. The seers opened the old books, those whispered to have come from beyond even Yggdrasil's roots, and began to understand the fragments of alien code the creature left behind. And slowly it came together. A ship, a longship forged of star metal and powered by fire and faith, its engine a blend of alien drive core and old magic. They called it Skjaldmir, the Shield Maiden. It was the first of its kind. And it would not be the last. It took 5 years to ready them. During that time, the clans trained together warriors, shield maidens, berserkers, rune carvers, smiths, even skalds who recorded every blade sharpened and every ship born. But the threat did not wait. On the 6th winter, the sky cracked open again. This time, it wasn't a crash, it was an invasion. 6 ships, sleek, black, like daggers forged in a god's nightmare, descended over the ice cliffs. Their weapons were silent, clean, and merciless. They vaporized half of Thorvald's village in less than a minute. But the Vikings were ready. Erik led the charge aboard the Skjaldmir, with his daughter Brynja at the helm and Vilda chanting runes from the rear. They did not ask questions. They answered fire with fury. Axes met alloys, spears pierced force fields, and the berserkers, unhinged and bound by sacred drugs, tore into aliens with howls that echoed beyond space. One by one, the invader ships fell, but not without cost. Brynja fell in the final battle. She had driven her longship into the enemy mothership's hangar, leapt from its prow with a 2-handed starblade, and fought through 6 corridors of alien marines to detonate the ship's core. Her explosion lit up the sky for hours. Erik stood over her grave with her sword in his hand. "She went to Valhalla in fire," he said. "Let the gods tremble when she arrives." After the invasion, the galaxy knew of Earth. Or more specifically, the cold wild edge of Earth, Fjalheim, the land of screaming wind and burning skies. A place where humans had prepared not by surrendering to technology, but by mastering it with rage and poetry. By shaping it in their own image, the aliens called them Deathborn, others Rundracht, the Rune Warriors, but the most common name, the Space Vikings. War swept through the Orion Arm. The darkness the alien had warned of was real, known as the Vyark Swarm, a hive mind of synthetic organic death, moving from system to system, consuming all life and rewriting it in its own image. Peaceful planets fell, coalitions shattered, and then came the Vikings. They arrived in burning longships that screamed across the void, their shields etched with starlit runes, their warriors singing in Old Norse as they plunged into battle. They did not fight like soldiers. They fought like stories. In the final campaign, the Vikings turned toward the Midgard Spiral, a cluster of human-aligned systems. No one believed it could be saved. Then came the call. Eric Thorson, now old, gray, with one eye and a cybernetic heart, sent a simple message. "We have prepared. We remember the first scream." 27 longships dropped from warp. The final battle was chaos. Space cracked, gods wept, time bent. Berserkers rode drop pods into hives. Rune-forged blades cut through synthetic flesh. And at the center, Vilda, now blind and speaking only in tongues, summoned a stellar storm from within a dying star. The Vikings won, not because they were stronger, but because they believed every death was a song worth singing. Years later, the galaxy rebuilt. Fjalheim was no longer isolated, it was a temple. A place where warriors from across the stars came to be trained, not just in combat, but in spirit, in rage, in loyalty. Eric passed in his sleep, clutching Brynja's blade. They say his soul rose in a star longship, drifting into Valhalla beyond the nebula gates. Somewhere out there he waits, just in case the stars scream again. Because when the Vikings hear the call, they don't hesitate, they rise. And the galaxy listens.